the nukes.
Shut down all the nukes.
Shut down all the nukes.
Fukushima never again.
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 皆さんこんにちは。
こんにちは。
こんにちは。今日もお忙しいところ、やはり大事なこのラリーに参加してくださってご苦労様です。Thank you so much for everybody to join this rally. This is the monthly 11th of every month. We are here stand in front of the San Francisco Japanese consulate and write letters each time to demand and ask the change the policy to Prime Minister. We are now mailing to a consulate and go through the consulate to Prime Minister. So we actually mark today's rally mark our 60th. We are here 5 years. Every month we didn't miss any 11th when we started. Today is the 60th, and then we could continue because your support, but also we couldn't give up because the situation condition of Japanese condition politics are very gravely mess, so that we cannot give up. We want to really stop this rally if we could, but we cannot because we have so much voices to be heard. Okay, so since June 11th and today the July 11th, what happened? First of all, I think I'd like to mention that the very important lawsuit. Finally, after 6 years, it started for the June 30th. This man-made catastrophe could be prevented, and many victims of Fukushima made the lawsuit, but every lawsuit rejected, and nobody was persecuted, and nobody is in jail now. But if the building was destroyed and then somebody died or injured, there is somebody who has responsibility. And nobody was prosecuted, nobody is in jail. But finally, inquest of the prosecution wrote that the all the rejection of this lawsuit maybe not right, so that the 3 people must be tried. So the 3 typical executives were in this case, and the prosecution has clear evidence that this catastrophe was prevented. They have evidence that 3 years before the 2011 even, TEPCO has already blueprinted that more than 50.7 meters or 70 meters that tsunami comes and they submerge the plant, so that they have to do actually build the prevention of the huge tsunami big wall front of the plant, and also this emergency generators submerged, so they must move to the higher place. They knew this fact, but they didn't prepare for it. What's the reason that the prosecution this is a totally typical negligence that they didn't prevent it. And 44 people actually have died in the process and after the evacuation. Those people, most of them are patients in the hospital in Fukushima. Those people died because typical negligence. So, hope this court really prove that typical criminal responsibility. They have to send these three executives to jail. This verdict will affect so many people, so many things. The victims mentally maybe believe that there is somebody finally prosecuted and went to jail. Also, the affect so much to the operators of the right now is restarting operating the nuclear plant, which are Sendai, Takahama, and Ikata. Those operators have to really rethink that is really safe. If anything happened, they might have the criminal responsibility. Otherwise, more and more nuclear power plant will be restarted, and without any clear evacuation plan, many Sendai, Ikata, Takahama, they were just reopened. So this lawsuit, I think it's very important. You know, after 6 years, finally, lawsuit and hearing started, but again, many people are forgetting about Fukushima. Fukushima is going away, far away, in a long time ago now for many people. But this court, I wonder, bring up people's fresh mind and they, oh yes, Fukushima accident, the catastrophe is never end, it is ongoing. That's very important. I hope this could succeed. So, two more very important things happened, I think. The July 7th, United Nations, United Nations adopted treaty banning the nuclear weapons. This is very historical because this is the first time that globally the nuclear weapons are illegal, cannot have it. This treaty banned to manufacture, having, using everything. Those, but let's see, 122 countries signed, but of course the countries who have nuclear weapons and then those allies didn't join and then won't sign. Japan said that when the September comes, many countries going to sign it. Japan said Japan won't sign this. Japan is the country had a nuclear weapon dumping to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and we are the people know the most this terrible destruction of bombs effect. When 200,000 people passed away when the bomb dropped, and by today over 600,000 people died, and then still people are suffering by generation also. We Japanese know what is awful about atomic bomb nuclear weapons, but Japan said want to sign Japan is the country have to really leading this treaty. But I want to mention that the Hibakusha, who are the victim of the atomic bombs, are the people leading and creating this treaty. It took 72 years to create this treaty, finally. And then this time, Japan should get out of the U.S. Nuclear weapons safety zone, then leading a country to not have any nuclear weapons. Okay, today, another epic episode. Today is 11th. The anti-conspiracy law take effect today. Can you believe it? Conspiracy law adopted and then passed the Congress March, I think. Then today already enforced it. This conspiracy law, the later somebody will maybe explain, but totally somebody said handcuff the democracy, freedom of the democracy. Yes, it is, because the policy and the authority have so much power to arrest us. There are how many? 200 some criminal is more than 200 crimes are targeted, but we don't know which crimes are really big. So that already self-censored media and people and activists since the secrecy law created in 2013. But this one is also more, even we discuss about it. They take us like we are planning the crime, so they can take us to jail. That is very much restrict our freedom. Whoever want to voice out against government, government want to us to rethink, well, can I say this, can I do this? It's getting, our activity is smaller. That's the thing. That's why we are fighting. We don't want government control, our human right. For a very short time, Abe government also succeeded to create so many bad laws. Secrecy law, of course, and the interpretation of the collective self-defense. But now self-defense, our army can go out and join the war, and then again, these anti-conspiracy laws. Gosh, Abe created so many in a short time, and then majority of people, yes, the poll indicate that the support of Abe is totally decreased. But again, that is each time happened the secrecy law, and then the Apple when passed the poll of the support is low, and then people start to fight. This time again. But this is the time we cannot retreat. We just go push and then take the Abe down. So resign Abe!
Resign, Abe!
Resign Abe!
Resign, Abe!
Abe resign!
Abe, resign!
Abe resign!
Abe, resign!
Abe step down!
Out! Abe, out!
Abe out!
Abe, out!
Abe 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 out!
Thank you. Next one is a Steve Zetcher. Max to say something.
Thank you, Chizu. So we're here today on the 60th action to defend the families of Fukushima, to oppose the restarting of nuclear weapons, nuclear plants in Japan. And the restarting of the plants is a threat to the entire world. These plants are dangerous, and it's insanity. With the earthquakes that they have in Japan, to restart nuclear plants, it's another Fukushima on the agenda. And at the same time, the government, the Japanese government, the Abe government, says they've decontaminated Fukushima. That's a lie. You can't decontaminate Fukushima. It's in the air. Cesium and other radioactive materials are in the environment in Fukushima. When it rains, they get contaminated in Fukushima. So they're telling the children and the families to go back to Fukushima despite the health dangers. And the workers as well who are in the plants are being contaminated. Many of the workers, thousands of workers, do not get health and safety training, and they're sent into this radioactive area. And it's so dangerous. We have melted cores which are still there. They can't get them out. Why can't they get them out? Because they're so highly radioactive that even the robots get destroyed when they send them in to get the nuclear radioactive material out. So if the robots are destroyed as a result of the radiation, imagine what would happen to human beings who try to get the radioactive cores out. And we also have the conspiracy law. If there's a conspiracy, it's the Abe government with the corrupt politicians and the schools where they've taken money from the state and have illegal corruption. That's a conspiracy that Abe should be prosecuted for. But of course the government is not going to prosecute the real criminals in Japan, the criminals that are attacking the people of Japan, the working people, that are repressing anti-nuclear activists in Japan. This is what the Japanese government is doing. And we have to say that Trump is supporting militarization of Japan. Trump is supporting Japan getting nuclear weapons. And we know that nuclear weapons and militarization of Asia is a threat to the entire world. We don't need more nuclear weapons. We need housing for people. We need health care for people. In this country, we need free education for people. That's where the money should be going instead of nuclear weapons and more nuclear plants. And one of the things the government is doing, at the same time they say that, Fukushima has been decontaminated, they're developing strains of rice that they say are resistant to contamination. So why would they develop strains of rice that are resistant from contamination if they say that there's no problem of contamination in Fukushima? I mean, it is a lie. That people are threatened by more radiation, not just in Japan and the world. The other aspect is the thousands of tanks of radioactive water surrounding the Fukushima plant. A tremendous amount of radioactive water, and another earthquake, those tanks could burst, and all that water would go into the Pacific Ocean, contaminating the entire Asian rim, Pacific rim. So we have to organize, we have to speak up, we have to continue to demand that Abe be forced out, and that they stop the restarting of the plants, and they defend the families and children of Fukushima not be forced to go back to Japan. So solidarity with the people of Japan, solidarity against restarting the plants, and we will continue this fight until we have an end to nuclear power and nuclear weapons and the militarization of Japan. Thank you very much.
And the next is Cecil Pineda.
Thank you, Chizu. So, my name is Cecile Pineda. I published a book in 2012 titled Devil's Tango, How I Learned the Fukushima Step by Step. We are here today on a very important occasion. This is our 60th demonstration here in front of the Japanese consulate. But also today is the day that the Japanese government has effectively enacted the, quote, conspiracy, unquote, law. Actually, the law was passed on June the 15th by the Japanese Diet. Both houses have a 2/3 majority of the conservative government, in agreement with Prime Minister Abe, whose popularity has never been lower. The law was passed after 16 hours of discussion and debate. In other words, it was railroaded through. There are two reasons for that. Number one, Mr. Abe has two political scandals that he's trying to sweep under the tatami mat. The second reason is that Tokyo municipal elections are coming up this month. They wanted to make sure that that law went into effect. I want to talk about three elements that are directly connected to the passage of the anti-conspiracy law. The first one is that the Abe government proposes to abolish Article 9. That is to say, what that means is to militarize Japan. A lot of Japanese people are very upset about that initiative. Number two, the Abe government proposes to remove all of the subsidies of the people, 125,000 roughly, who had to be evacuated from the most contaminated zones of Fukushima. And not only are there subsidies being removed, but what that means is that effectively these people, if they do not agree to go back into extremely contaminated territory, they have no subsidies to live on. They effectively will become homeless, pauperized, and dispossessed. That's the second thing that this government hopes to sweep under the tatami mat. And the third dangerous of all. The Abe government, under the pressure from the United States and the United States nuclear industry, proposes to activate all of the reactors and proposes to do so in one of the world's most seismically compromised areas of the planet. Clearly insanity. Not just victimizing the people of Japan, but victimizing the people all over the world. That is why the Japanese government railroaded the Conspiracy Act. Now, in conjunction with the Conspiracy Act of 2017, we also have the Secrecy Act of 2015. Now, the Japanese government essentially has locked into place police control and surveillance of its population. We are here to let the Japanese people know that there are a few Americans who are aware of your grief and your rage and your anger and your suffering, and that we are here today in solidarity with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next is Sato-san, freedom from Japan, visiting. Please take your position.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this great anti-demonstration here in San Francisco, and 60 times. It's very great achievement. I'm from Dodo Chiba. Dodo Chiba is Japanese radio union, which waged 2 waves of strikes against the privatization of Japanese National Railways. Japanese National Railways was privatized by Nakasone government. Yasuhiro Nakasone. This person was the person who initiated Japanese nuke policy in 1950s. This Nakasone is the enemy of working class and enemy of all the people around the world who are suffering from fallout of Fukushima nuclear power plant. And now, our sister union, Dodo Mito, is fighting against nuclear power plant and work in very contaminated environment. Members of Dodo Mito are working in Ibaraki Prefecture and Fukushima Prefecture. Now, the government and the Japan Railway Company are opening up rail track very near to the destroyed Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. So, Dodo Mito waged repeatedly strike against this open up of the railroad to very near to the power plant. Only 2 kilometers, a little bit more to 1 mile. It's an incredible crime. And Fukushima Board of Education opened up schools very near to the nuclear power plants. Even though there are very few children, school children there, but it's a crime against humanity.
As loud as I can.
No. Yeah. Now, 192 children discovered of thyroid cancer patients. 191 was confirmed as having thyroid cancer.
Sir, I can hardly hear you. You speak
And one,
That's the way it goes. That's the loudest voice.
Set the microphone down.
That's the loudest
yeah,
voice.
yeah.
One loud about it.
And one was not cancer, but the children was what's called the
Thyroid.
no.
You realize the first 2 bombs they hit Japan?
Yeah,
Back in
operation.
that war was 15 to 20 megaton weapon.
No, we're not.
But
It's all
even
based
though
off the nuclear isotopes. It's the whole fundamental process behind nuclear.
Okay, he's making a
we
presentation.
are fighting against this insanity, we also helping build a independent clinic in Fukushima City. It is very important thing to treat independently children and adults in Fukushima. Nuclear power plants is not only for power generation, it is for making nuclear warheads. Japanese government has already a very pure plutonium, weapon-grade plutonium, which is purer than plutonium in U.S. warheads. Now, Japanese government is aiming to change our constitution. Article 9 of the constitution, which prohibit armament of Japan. So, we are preparing to wage a general strike against this constitutional revision. Already, Korean workers waged general strikes in 1916, and then in November last year, they held a huge rally against Park Geun-hye government. She was impeached and then imprisoned. Now, we Japanese workers must imprison Abe, and you in the United States must imprison Trump. Workers united will never be defeated. Workers internationally united will never be defeated. Thank you.
Today I have here a couple of people joining the rally. The first person I met today, Jessica, right? Thank you for coming. Can I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
Thank you, Jessica. So I want to know, how did you find out this rally?
I found out about this rally on Facebook through Radiation Watch group that I'm part of, that I joined right after Fukushima happened.
You are in a group of the Radiation Watch?
Correct.
The Radiation Watch in the Bay Area?
I believe it might be in the Bay Area. I'm not sure if it's specified. They post radiation CPMs, so the amount of radiation that's currently in the air, and monitor spikes around the world.
Your group will find out any radiation material from the Fukushima?
Yes. Cesium, I guess, from what I'm understanding, is very, very specific. And it leaves a very specific footprint from, depending on which plant it's from. It's like a fingerprint, and they are finding cesium here in the United States in milk and in fish. A lot of my friends monitor the salmon runs up in the north, in the Seattle area and stuff, and they are finding more tumors on fish and more radiation in the fish.
Maybe you know that in Fukushima is contaminated area, still little kids are living there. They are not evacuated. How do you think of that?
I think that's horrible. I don't believe that very few people are aware of the effects of radiation and how it is affecting the entire world currently. Even people here in America are being affected by it. There's higher numbers of Hashimoto's disease and hyperthyroidism. There's also a lot of different things that are happening. There was a lot of call actually for Japan to be evacuated right after Fukushima happened, but of course everybody looked to money. People don't look to the humans, and somebody before said that this is crimes against humanity, and it is. This is definitely a crime against humanity. This is not something that you can fix. The media has definitely put a silence on it, and media outlets are threatened by governments to keep the media silent due to national security issues. Even independent journalists are being threatened here in America and actually in Japan for reporting on these issues. They're very, very worried about mass hysteria of general populace, which is very sad that people aren't able to know the truth and to deal and process it as it's happening. And instead, we're going to find out in a couple of years more, that there's a higher increase in cancers and of thyroid issues and new genetic mutations, I'm sure, that they're not even aware of yet.
Yeah, it is amazing that you know about radiation and the radiation disease. But how do you think that Japan, after 6 years, do you think many people are aware of Fukushima's today's condition? How do you think?
Are they aware or ill? I'm sorry.
They know about what's going on in Fukushima.
I would hope that Japan people do know. I've seen articles and stuff like that talking about the higher thyroid cancers in the children, about how the Olympics are going to be held in 2020 in Japan. And that's very, very scary for me because that spreads the contamination around the world to where they could say plausible deniability. It's just a natural thing that's occurring. So I really hope that the Japanese government and the American government work together to address this issue. I know that the soldiers who were in the Navy who were on the ship who got hit with it right afterwards, they're the ones who are doing the lawsuit, right? They finally got permission to sue. I saw a video of their dosimeters going off, and the captain, the person in charge, was telling them just to ignore it. The fact that they have sent robots in to the reactors and they have seen spilled rod fuels, and that there's a lot of them that they can't even find. There's been several theories proposed that maybe even they were ejected into the ocean. These issues weren't even addressed in the G20 for climate change. Fukushima and other radioactive incidences definitely add exponentially to climate change. As far as cleanup goes and decontamination, it's not going to happen. It's here for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and our race will likely die out before the radiation goes away. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. You know many knowledge, and I appreciate you joined today. I really appreciate. I like to more people really join our rally. But Jessica, thank you so much, and then very nice to have you. Thank you. Yeah, I know. And then next, Carol. Carol just said that she joined this rally a couple of times before. Even this Japanese consulate moved to this location like 3-4 years ago. It was across the street. She joined that time too. So she's our old. Sorry, that is old. Thank you. Anyway, please. So I'm glad that you long time, for supporting this against the nuclear, power plant and the nuclear weapons. So what do you do except those? You belong to some group and activity?
Well, very active in anti-war causes, and I want to tell you how I came to be concerned about this issue. when I was in high school, we read John Hershey's book, Hiroshima, and the fact that this government, the U.S. government, used nuclear weapons on civilian populations in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and forever burst any illusion that the U.S. government was for democracy, freedom, human rights. And really, we learned here that the whole nuclear power industry is an outgrowth of the nuclear war industry, a way to use the byproducts of nuclear weapon production. And so this horror in Japan with the devastation of the Fukushima nuclear power plants really goes back to the development and actual use of nuclear weapons. And we have to tie these together. We have to be for stopping all nuclear power, and we have to be for stopping all nuclear weapons. The world just took a step towards that, at least on the idea level, with the international UN conference where 122 nations said we should not have nuclear weapons. Of course, all the nuclear powers boycotted that vote. It's aimed at them. But the people of the world, and because of Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and because of Fukushima, the people of the world are opposed to nukes of all kinds, and we must organize to get rid of them.
Wonderful. How do you think right now for the Japan's, after 6 years, the Fukushima accident, do you think it's containing or come to the end?
It doesn't seem to be contained. It seems to be still very much a factor of human health in Japan and even here. And I think the sister who just spoke pointed out the soldiers' lawsuit, and I think Steve pointed out the development of the radiation-resistant rice strains that are being introduced into the Fukushima area. I want to say one other thing, because I'm thinking a lot about the Grenfell tragedy in UK, the apartment building burning. Why? Because the contractors that built it wanted to make more money and use a cheaper construction project. And the point is that people who profit, the profiteers, the capitalists, cannot be trusted with the basic things of society, providing housing, electricity, and power. That cannot be something that is run for profit. All the things that people need, our healthcare systems, our food, our housing, power, all the things that people need have to be controlled by the people who produce it and the people who need it. Not for money, not for profit.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. The human lives are put aside in Japan for the Fukushima after this catastrophe, I think. Always come to the profit is first, and human life is always next. So, thank you so much, Carol. Yeah, hope you joined again. And as everybody mentioned that this nuclear power plant, now it's 4 nuclear power plants in Japan operate. Sendai, Takahama, Ikata, and anytime the Genkai, another one is going to restart. But think about that. Fortunately, we didn't have like a Fukushima, but still, operating the power plant, many workers are contaminated, and we still don't know those spent fuel where to put. The lots of this time contaminated material in the plastic bag in the Fukushima. There are no place to go, just sitting mountain and mountain of the plastic bag. And Japan is a nest of the earthquake, and then it's on the volcanic plate, and it's the corridors of the huge typhoons. The Japan, we don't want to have second next Fukushima, but we really regret that no more nuclear power plant restored. We should learn from Germany. We should learn from Taiwan, and we should learn from South Korea. They decided to decommission, phase out from the nuclear power plant. That Japan should follow. Okay, every 11th of this rally, we write a letter to the Prime Minister, and we're asking for change the policy, because we cannot stand it's now Japanese other government's policy. So this time, Dan Marlin of a Circle of Concern and NoNukesAction wrote a letter, and then he's getting better now. He can go out with his wheelchair. It is a tremendous recovery. But anyway, he cannot come here today, so we asked Sarasa Weinstein-san to read it for them. Thank you.
Dear Mr. Abe, almost every leader in the world promises to act in the best interest of their people. But if we examine our country's honesty, we find that it is usually only a handful of the powerful who direct policy while citizens are frequently exploited and neglected. In the United States, the military-industrial complex creates huge profits for a tiny number of corporations, but it destabilizes international relations and does tremendous damage to the planet. Tax dollars are used to build and refine more nuclear weapons, while the needs of ordinary citizens for healthcare, housing, education, environmental protection are shortchanged. Despite the distortion and omission of the media, people continue to resist and demand a more just society. In Japan, today, a similar situation prevails. The Japanese people pay a mandatory tax to support the ongoing cleanup of the Fukushima disaster site, as well as to aid the former residents of Fukushima who have moved away from the contaminated zone. At the same time, nuclear reactors which were shut down after 2011 are being restarted. Even though the majority in our citizens have made it clear that the risk of decommissioning them is unacceptable, the evacuated families have been informed that their stipends will be cut off because it is now safe to resettle their former communities. Since the Japanese government raised the acceptable background level of the radiation from the international standard of 1 millisievert per year to 20 millisievert, its insistence that life is returning to normal has less and less credibility. The families whose subsides are cut off face an agonizing dilemma. Parents who don't want to expose their children to radioactive contamination must go back or face poverty and homelessness. Meanwhile, the recently enacted society secrecy and anti-conspiracy laws, as well as the harassment of grassroots opposition activists are clearly directed at suppressing the right to know and intimidating those who raise their voices to criticize government policies. Our monthly protest here express solidarity with the people of Fukushima, Japan, and with all humanity and life on this planet. Another nuclear catastrophe in Japan or anywhere else might cause incalculable damage around the globe. Therefore, we repeat our demands. First of all, that the evacuees continue to receive financial support for as long as they feel it is necessary, as well as full medical coverage for the rest of their lives. Close medical attention needs to be paid to workers engaged in hazardous nuclear cleanup. The cleanup workers at the destroyed facilities and surrounding area must be monitored and supported medically for the rest of their lives. Those nuclear plants now operating should be shut down, and all those which are now offline should be permanently decommissioned. The recent assaults of freedom of assembly and expression must be withdrawn. Japan can live up to the rich idea of its constitution. We are all connected, not only by political and economic manipulation, but by mutual responsibility and sympathy. It is time to join this work of caring. It is the only future worth living for. Sincerely yours, Daniel Murray, California, Berkeley.
ありがとうございました。So again, August 6th and 8th August 6th and August 9th. This is the 72nd. The Hiroshima and Nagasaki, this inhuman, destructive nuclear weapons, atomic bomb, exploded on the top of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki town. On August 9th, there are big protests at the Livermore nuclear weapon laboratory. This is August 9th, Wednesday, 8 a.m. It's corner of Vasco and Patterson Pass Road. And then NoNukesAction also attend. So I hope many people come. And then let's not forget these terrible nuclear weapons. And then timely, this banning treaty just came out before. And then we try to make this treaty very alive. And then again, we are here next August 11th. Of course, we don't give up. Again here at the front of the San Francisco Japanese consulate. We write a letter again and present to Abe, Prime Minister. The Prime Minister's scandalous things and the majority people disapprove. Help Abe really step down. And anybody want to announce for any information coming up event? No? Not the Labor Fest?
Okay. So this month is Labor Fest, where we commemorate the San Francisco General Strike and working people, the history of working people, and education, because people are not knowledgeable about what's going on in Fukushima. If you look in the newspapers, you can't find anything. It's disappeared. So we have to educate ourselves, and we have to educate all working people about our history. So Labor Fest happens every month. We're going to be having events tonight and throughout the month, and a Labor Fest Maritime Boat Ride is coming Sunday, and we go out on a boat and have dinner and music and learn about our own working class history. So you're welcome to join us. And solidarity, we have to build solidarity with working people in Japan, working people in the United States, working people all around the world. Our enemies are not the Japanese. Our enemies are not other countries. Our enemies are the governments that represent the profiteers, the people that are making money off of war, off of militarization, and more nuclear plants and nuclear weapons. So in solidarity, no nukes now. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
Thank you for joining. So I like to see you again, August 11th. Here. Shut down all the nukes.
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 Fukushima never again.
Fukushima never again.
Fukushima never again.
Fukushima never again.
Hiroshima never again.
Hiroshima never again.
Hiroshima never again.
Hiroshima never again.
Nagasaki never again.
Nagasaki never again.
Nagasaki never again.
Nagasaki never again.
Abe out.
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 Shut down all the nukes.
Shut down all the nukes.
Shut